Hello, and welcome to another great edition of Victory in Jesus. I am your host, Frank Tony. I'm only half of myself today because, as you know, my lovely wife, who's my co host, she's generally with us, but today she had some previous engagements that she wasn't able to be a part of this great show. But anyhow, we're excited, we're delighted once again to be able to come into your home and share with you the good news of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Again, as I always like to remind you, this is called Victory in Jesus because we come to let you know that whatever you are going through, that you can have hope in knowing that you have victory in Jesus. We're excited and delighted. We're so blessed today to have such a wonderful guest with us. We have a great man of God who really needs no introduction. He's just an awesome man sent by God to do the will of God. And I'm speaking of none other than Mr. Lincoln Bryan. He is the, shall I call you the headmaster, the dean, or all the above?
Administrator.
Administrator. He is the administrator of the Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bryan.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us on today.
Yes, we're honored to have it. As we say to all of our guests, we know time today is very valuable. Time is of the essence. So there's the fact that you have taken a part of your day to be with us. We want you to know that we are greatly appreciative of that, and we know that so many great and wonderful things are being done by God through Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy. We wanted to let the community, we want to let our family know what God is doing by way of Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy. And while we're on it, let's just delve right into some of the things we want to talk about today. When
Sure.
we talk about Christian education, and one of the things that our family already knows, and I like to remind them, is that this show is about connecting Christ and community. The name, as we said, is Victory in Jesus, but our aim, our objective is to connect Christ and community. And we thought, what better example, what better way to relay that message today than to bring you in and talk about what God is doing by way of Christian education. You know, the day and time in which we're in now, so many things that the Christian has to deal with. Our
Right.
society has seemingly become more secular and more moved away from the spiritual that what it used to be. So Christian education is a valuable, it's vital if we're going to reach this generation. But I want to hear from you. Why Christian education? Why should our family even consider enrolling their son or their daughter in Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy?
Thank you, Frank. That's a very important question. First off, time is very valuable, but I always have time for Jesus.
Amen.
And I love the slogan, Victory in Jesus. That's what we're all about.
Amen.
As a church and as a school. First off, I would say, why Christian education? At the very top, from the very beginning, from a capitalistic perspective, school choice. To have the right to choose which school your children go to is a great opportunity for you as parents. And competition makes everyone better. I think back to the cars of the early 70s that GM made. They were huge and not necessarily great with gas, but then foreign-made motors came in and made smaller cars, and it forced GM to make a better car. And so competition is great. And so whether it's a charter school or a Christian school or a private school, competition is great. And so from the outside, I would say that. Stepping in a little closer, Christian education is near and dear to my heart because it allows a biblical worldview to be put on our children. The communists say, give us your child until they're 6 and we'll have them forever. And so education is very important because what it does in a Christian setting is we get a chance to start each and every class with prayer, devotional thought. We get a chance to have Christian school teachers talk about their passion, their love for God. And we talk about each of the areas that we cover in history and science and math. We talk about each one of those things from a Christian perspective. And it allows the young people to see things properly. Everybody has a worldview. Mm-hmm. And what the worldview is, it's a set of glasses that you view the world. And those are very important, and they begin to develop early in life. And so from a Christian perspective, we get a chance to help your young people develop that. Church is great. It lasts for an hour on Sunday morning. Sunday school is great. It lasts for an hour on Sunday morning. 40 hours a week is how often they're in school. And so we try to saturate them with God's teachings and help them develop a great worldview. So that's why I would say a Christian education is very valuable.
Well, and I certainly would agree. You touched on something there that I think it's worth spending just a little bit of time on, and the fact that, when you said you teach them, yes, history, arithmetic, all of the core curriculums, but you do it in a God-like, in a Christian-like manner. You teach
Right.
them from the Christian perspective.
Correct.
And I think that's important because, I think most parents know, but maybe there are some parents who are not aware of what, is it just a Bible time that they spend all day? But no, it is actually learning the essentials of life through just learning it through a Christian worldview, or more of a biblical perspective.
That's correct. We have history class and English class and literature class and science class and math class and Spanish class and PE class, and we have athletic teams, and everything we do, we try to do from a biblical perspective.
Good. That's good to hear. That's good to know. Now, just for the sake of the listeners today, talk to me a little bit about Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy. Well, I know you're located just off of Highway 122, or better known as Booker T. Washington.
Right.
But give me a little bit about the history that surrounds Smith Mountain Lake.
Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy opened its doors in the fall of 2008, and a lot of hardworking, dedicated folk laid a great foundation for the school up till this past summer. The school was in need of someone who could answer the hard question and be there to answer the difficult situations and supply money on occasion. And so they asked for Pastor Troy and Eastlake Community Church to come on and kind of be an oversight. And that's what got me involved. I'm a new administrator as of last summer, and that's what brought me to the school. The history of our school has been one of putting the kids first, developing children, loving them, teaching them, and I see that it's going to continue in the future doing just those same things.
Good. So you said this came about even as early as 2008, but just over this past summer.
Correct.
It's kind of a new administration, so even the Smith Mountain Lake that they may have known a couple of years ago, it's somewhat different. Still same principles, but just
Right.
different approach towards those principles. And then you mentioned Pastor Troy Keaton of
Right.
Eastlake Church. Now, you mentioned that, and we were talking last time with a guest about the Agape Center, and it's a Christian organization as
Correct.
well. And I think it's important for us to talk a little bit about. You're part of? Are you a part of Eastlake? Or are you denominational? Or are you non-denominational? If I'm considering bringing my son or my daughter to Smith Mountain Lake, what can I expect? What type of affiliation?
That's a great question. Someone has to answer the final question. Harry Truman had a sign on his desk that said the buck stops here. Somebody's got to make that decision, and there really wasn't someone in line to do that. And so that is Eastlake Community Church at this point. We are a non-denominational school, and what that means is we don't answer to a board or a corporation that's in Washington, D.C. or some other location. We're Christians first and foremost, and we work with every Christian who wants a Christian education in Franklin and Bedford County and beyond. That's our focus. We're Christian, not denominational.
And there is a difference.
There is.
There is a difference, and we've shared in times past that denominations generally from a perspective, let's say from one perspective, denominations really divide, whereas Christian it unifies. So,
Correct.
So being Christian, you're saying whosoever will, in essence, let them come.
If you think Jesus Christ is God's Son and you want to live a life for victory in Jesus, then we're your school.
Amen. And I may add, I've tried not to say this until later on in this broadcast, but I may add that it's a great school. We're privileged, we're blessed to have our son as a part of the Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy, and we've seen the growth. We've seen the change in him that we've so desired. So
Great.
I will say, I love public school. I think public school has a lot to offer, but I'm concerned, to say the least, of the things that are happening there. I'm concerned that our children are not being able to see. I just saw recently, as this morning, there is a push now to take the Bible out of public libraries. So, and it looks like the further along we get on this journey called life, then the further we get away from what started life, and we know that to be God.
Right. I would say that this is not you and I at public school. The school we went to growing up, that's not what's happening today. And there's a very organized push left. And a lot of those things we don't want our children to be involved in. And again, back to that world view, back to those lens that we see the world from. We don't want them to see the world from that perspective because it would not be biblical.
Amen. I agree. Just for a little bit, I think someone is interested where you've piqued their curiosity. Could you just, for a brief bit, talk about the curriculum that you use there at Smith Mountain Lake?
We use a lot of Bob Jones curriculum. Bob Jones is a Christian Bible college out of South Carolina, and they have it's called Bob Jones Press. And we use a lot of their textbooks because of the Christian worldview that's in the textbook, but not just because of that. They have laid their curriculum side by side with some of the best secular curriculum out there, and it is top of the road. Our science teacher this year just explained to me the other day that her curriculum in public school was inferior to the level that Bob Jones has specifically in the chemistry class. And so just because it's Christian, it's not second rate. It's a great curriculum, but it helps us teach things from a biblical perspective.
And that's important. I think that's very important, extremely important, really, I should say, because we need to know that there is a guided approach. There's not just, well, what are we going to teach this month, or what are we going to teach this week, or we'll grab this or grab that. No, it's a guided approach to where, you know, you follow the curriculum, and by the end of the student's school year, they will have learned or gleaned just as someone would in a public school.
That's correct. Teachers have lesson plans they've got to turn into me on a weekly basis, and I go over those and make sure that they're pointed in the same direction and they're making progress. And they start here and they end here. And this end gets them in ready for the next school year and the next topic that they'll be covering.
Good. So again, I think it's a great approach, and it's seems to be working very well. So kudos to Smith Mountain Lake for that as well. Now let's for a moment, I want to talk about the mission. You know, the mission of the school, Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy. I know you came there with a mission, and you want that to be seen as well as heard, but you want the children to experience that mission. Talk about the mission of Smith Mountain Lake.
Okay, I would say we've dealt with it a little bit already, and that is a biblical worldview to every one of our students and rigorous academics. We don't want to be seen as a Christian school, so we focus on the God side and let the academic side slip down. That's not what we're focused on. We want them to have equal opportunity. And so we look at that from Mark chapter 12, verse 30 and 31's perspective, that we're to love God with our soul and our heart and our mind and our strength. And so we focus on each one of those layers in our school, trying to prepare the complete person to be the best servant they can be in this world. Good.
And you've got several different platforms that you do that to express that mission. And I think that you have to have a mission. In fact, each week in our service, we stand together and we recite our mission. We recite the vision of the church, of the house, and it just it keeps everyone abreast. It keeps everyone informed. I believe that in order to achieve their mission, I have to know what that is.
Correct.
I have to know what it is. I was reading on your site. You have something there that piqued my curiosity. You talked about integrity. Let me make sure I said. We begin each day with Integrity Institute. What is Integrity Institute?
This year, it is each class starts off with a devotional led by the teacher, a time of prayer, a time of children to share their prayer request and to share their praises, because we can't just ask God for things and not say thank you when we're done. For example, last week a young man was praying that he would find a job. He came in Monday morning very excited that he had found a job, and so we get to share with him in that regard. But it's to help focus our hearts and minds around a singular purpose to start each class.
Awesome. That's good. I think that's really good. So they're being able to share that and I think that's vital today. Again, in this society the way it is, to be able to hear the prayer request, but then later on, or soon thereafter, see the results
Correct.
of the prayer request. That just gives, I think it's a faith builder.
It is.
So I think that's an awesome approach, Integrity Institute. What are some of the things that you have going on? I think you've got several different things coming up for the spring, upcoming spring. You've got some special things happening. Want to talk about that a little bit?
We do. Really excited. Our calendar is full, and I guess that's a good thing. We have some things coming up that we'd like for you to know about. On May the 6th, we have our spring musical. Our music department, the kindergarten all the way through 8th grade, will be putting on a program, and that'll be right there at the church where we're located on Hellsford Church on 122 in Wirtz. We also have our first ever golf tournament to kind of raise funds for a school, and that'll be May the 14th at Westlake Golf and Country Club. And if you need more information about that, you can talk to me later. I'll be glad to speak to you about that. We also have a really cool fundraiser we call Fly-In.
Fly-In.
On June the 11th, you can come to the Smith Mountain Lake Airport between 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and for $30, we'll take you up and to give you a bird's eye view of the lake and the surrounding area, and all the proceeds of that, the time and the fuel is all donated by pilots, and all the proceeds of that go to help advance the cause of the school. So you get a good perk out of it, but then we get a blessing as well.
Now, when is that again?
That is June the 11th
June the 11th.
at Smith Mountain Lake Airport.
Smith Mountain Lake Airport. If I'm interested, if you're interested,
Correct.
You show up at the Smith Mountain Lake Airport between the hours of.
We fly between 11 and 4. It's a long line, so come early.
What a neat offering. What a neat experience to have.
It is.
Good. Now let me just talk just a little bit. I want to switch gears a little bit because, again, I've heard the curriculum, I've heard the mission, I've heard the history of the school. Talk to us a little bit about the requirements from the teacher's standpoint. Talk to me about the teachers. What's expected, what's required of your teachers?
Well, first off, they have to get past my hiring. I sat down this summer as a brand new administrator with a model in mind that I wanted to pursue. And I wanted my elementary teachers to have the education that's required, the accreditation that's required, the certifications that are required. But I wanted them to have, especially on the lower end, I wanted them to have a mom's heart, to love English and to love history and to love science, but to love the little tyke as well. Mm-hmm. And so we set out to do that, and we accomplished that mission. We have some of the greatest teachers on the very low end with a mom's heart, and I'm really happy about that. And then, as you know, when you get into high school, sometimes there's a generation gap. And I wanted to address that as well. And I wanted young, passionate, excitable teachers that could communicate with our young people as close to their level as possible, yet at the same time, they're certified, they're accredited, and they have a stamp of approval of higher organizations on them. And we did that as well. We have a great young staff and brand new teachers we've already signed for next year that bring a doctorate with them. And so we're really excited about our accreditation of our teachers. Our teachers are one of the bright spots of our school.
I think that's worth noting because, there are some schools where the requirement is not as rigorous, it's not as important as far as teachers are concerned. Right. So you guys have placed the bar at what you see to be a suitable level that they can relay the mission and the vision of Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy. And I think that's important. Even as a mother, as a father, you would want, I think you would want to know that your children are being instructed by capable, intelligent teachers. And I can tell you from experience that that's what you would experience if and when you decide to bring your son or your daughter to Smith Mountain Lake Christian Academy. Now I want to say this again to our family. Although you are right now currently holding school in, I think, what is the name of the church?
Hellsford Baptist Church, Wirtz Road.
Hellsford Baptist Church. You're on the corner of Lost Mountain Road.
Correct.
And Booker T. Washington.
Right.
Just before the bridge or beyond the bridge, depending on which way you're coming from.
That's true.
Yes, but now you're a non-denominational. We've already expressed that.
Right.
Serving, having school in this church, in the Baptist church.
Correct.
But I understand that you've got some plans in the very near future, seems like, of making a change. Talk to us a little bit about this change.
Well, it would be great to have our own facility. And when we began to look at taking over the school and giving the school new direction, new focus, we realized if it was going to grow like we felt like God wanted it to grow, we were going to outgrow our current facilities really quickly. And so we began to look at what that would look like. And again, our church, East Lake Community Church, was given a tremendous blessing in 2014 to be able to buy 162 acres off of Hendrick Store Road. And plans are being drawn as we speak for a new school building that would be there. It would go in 2 stages. It'd be stage 1 and stage 2, and would have sports fields and a gymnasium and all the classrooms and all the office space that we would require for a growing school, because we don't think God wants to do good things on a small scale. We think God wants to do good things on a great scale. And so we're trying to prepare for that.
Okay, so you said you've been blessed with 162 acres. Where's that located?
That's on Hendrick Store Road in Manita.
In Manita.
Correct.
Which is only a few miles from your current location.
A couple miles away.
Yeah, so you 162 acres. Just really in a couple of years, God has blessed you with that, and you are already drawing up plans to construct a brand new facility, which will consist of all the things that a growing family needs.
That's correct, and I would love to tell you it'll be open and give you an exact certain date, but there's something called red tape and money. Just those 2 things stand in the way, that's all.
Yeah, that's all, yeah. And anyone that's ever done anything with construction, you understand that those are 2 mountains that with God you can overcome them.
That's
but
correct.
It just takes time.
It does.
Good. Well, congratulations on that for such a short time being able to do such a great amount of work. Now, would you talk a little bit? Perhaps we've piqued the curiosity of some of our family members that are listening to us today. Could you talk just a little bit about the registration process, or just inquiring about, if I want to register my child at the school, what could they do?
I think when this program is over, there'll be an address on the phone and also a website and an email and a phone number. And I would love nothing better than to give you a tour of the facility, to sit down and talk to you personally, or if you're too busy for that, for me to send you information on your email to let you know what all we have to offer. Everybody's always concerned about the price and those kind of things. But registration is open, and we are taking new students for next year. Some classes are filling up quickly, and so that's not just a ploy to get you to call soon. That's an actual fact, and so we would like to hear from you soon. But registration is officially open as we speak.
Good. So it's open to whoever now, and if they're interested in just coming and viewing the facility, could they call and make some appointment or arrangements to come by?
Correct. I would love for you to come by and take a tour of the school at any time. Just call, make sure I'm available, and I will be glad to give you a show of what we have to offer.
Okay, good. Now, I know that we spoke earlier, and you have some types of scholarships. Perhaps that mother or father are listening. They may be kind of strapped, or they needing some kind of assistance. What do you do as far as, do you have any kind of scholarship?
We do. Sometimes we complain a lot about what comes out of Richmond. Our delegates and our senators, we like to complain about what they do, but sometimes they do good things. And a couple of years ago, they did a really good thing by passing the Virginia Tax Credit Scholarship bill. And what this does is this allows businessmen or individuals to donate money to a holding facility like ACSI or Renew a Nation, and they can hold that money, and then we can go get that money per child based on some qualifications that the state set in place. And what that does is that allows a family to get a Christian education that couldn't normally afford it. That is the thing about Christian education that some people are afraid about, is the cost. But this bill allows you to get money from a neutral source to help you with your school bill. There are a couple of qualifications. They're very simple to go over, and I would love to explain them in great detail to you if we have a chance to meet face to face, or I can send them to you in an email. But it's a great way that could cut your school bill approximately in half.
Okay, good. That's good to know, because again, there's so many things that are competing for our hard-earned dollars these days.
Right.
Myself included, the average parent, we're already paying this tax and that tax and every other kind of tax.
Correct.
And so to have to think of even trying to go out and take my child to another type of school where I've got to pay
Sure.
more money, then it sometimes gets to be kind of burdensome. But maybe you're wondering today what is what are the benefits for you to even consider taking your child from a public school setting and bring them into a Christian type setting, a Christian environment school. You alluded to it just a moment ago, Mr. Bryan, about Richmond. You touched on Richmond. You said money comes out of Richmond, and you mentioned Richmond because that's the state capital of Virginia.
Correct.
And that's where all the decisions are made. We'll say that's where all the politicians come together,
Right.
And I would like to call them government officials, but it seems like politics have kind of invaded.
I agree.
The governmental structure, but that's where all the decisions for you and I, for you as well, they are made each and every day. So you asked the question, why isn't Christian education important? Why should I consider Christian education? And I think alone that's probably one that rank high on the list. Would you say not as far as government is concerned?
That's correct. It's a local entity that gets to make the decisions for your family, with your family's direction and with your family's help. We get to make decisions that what's best for us, not some organization 300 miles away. What's best for everybody. It's not one size fits all. Mm-hmm. It's a Christian school that's designed specifically to meet the needs here locally. And that is a great perk.
That's awesome. And I think it's important to note that when we teach our children from a Christian perspective, on a Christian worldview, that enables them to be able to go to Richmond, perhaps get
Correct.
into some of those positions that
Right.
that seem to have some non-believers in Richmond that are making decisions for us. So I wanted to at least let the family hear that, because the Christian education, the Christian perspective is so vital. It is so important today. So perhaps I need to be saying this to the mother, to the father, as our time is about to run out. It is important that we teach our children from the ways of God, because I'm convinced that even the founding fathers, that their intention when they established the laws that they established, that they were established with a Christian perspective, from a Christian perspective or a Christian worldview. So please know that we'd so would love to see you. If you would like to have some information sent to you, I think the information is going to be showing on the screen now. But please reach out to us and let us hear from you. Let us know that you're at least interested in having some information sent to you, and then we could take it from there, whatever you so choose to do. But I believe if you would prayerfully consider becoming a part of this great institute of learning, Smith Mountain Lake Christian Education, Christian Academy, I think it would be worth your while, and you would see the benefits not soon thereafter. So as our time is gone, I want you to know that we are blessed. We're grateful that you have chosen to be a part of us on this day. And thank you so much, Mr. Bryan, for being a part of this broadcast, Victory in Jesus. But for we believe that as we work together,
Right.
we will see victory in Jesus. So again, letting you know before we leave, you don't have any problems, because what you have is victory in Jesus. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you.